What is going on, everybody? We have some big announcements from last night for the cards leading up to the White House card. Starting with UFC 328, we have Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland headlining the card. Absolutely massive fight. Some other fights below, we have Alexander Volkov fighting Waldo Cortez Acosta. Good heavyweight bout. Waldo Cortez Acosta moving himself up the rankings. Big challenging fight, though, with Alexander Volkov, who we know poses problems for just about anyone in the division with his size and length, and it could be a tough challenge for Waldo. Sean Brady versus Woquan Buckley. This is a tough fight for both them in different ways. Stylistically, we've seen Sean Brady have some problems with good strikers, and Woquan Buckley obviously just got out-wrestled by Kamaru Usman, so he's going to have made big adjustments and improvements to get through Sean Brady here. Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. We knew about this fight, I'm pretty sure, going into this, but it's on this card. Good fight. Jan Blachowicz, obviously much older now, but he still got it. So this should be a good fight as well in the light heavyweight division. And then King Green versus Jeremy Stephens. A bit random, to say the least. King Green just came off a nice win against Daniel Zalhuber, and Jeremy Stephens hasn't fought in a bit. His last fight was against Mason Jones, if I'm not mistaken, which he lost pretty decisively, but he had some good moments, and this could be a good fight there. But really, I just want to talk about the main event right now. We have some other announcements as well, which I'll get into in a couple minutes, but the main event, Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. I mean, this is as big as a fight you could make right now in the UFC, genuinely. Maybe besides Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, this is the biggest fight you can make right now. Dude, the beef is there. I can imagine, going up to the card. If you ask me, you're to say, over, under 1.5 fights before the actual fight happens, I'd say yes, we're going to at least get 2 backstage fights, press conference fights or whatever. I genuinely think it might be a challenge to have them sit on a stage together and do a press conference. This is Khabib versus Conor McGregor level beef, but except for both of these guys are much more mentally unhinged than Khabib and Conor. So keeping them from not swinging at each other will be a challenge. I genuinely could see Khamzat Chimaev getting rage baited by Sean and rushing across the stage and swinging on him. But this is a massive fight, really. It really is. I think obviously Khamzat Chimaev's been pretty much running through all everyone he's faced as of recent. Dricus du Plessis won 45. Really just kind of held him down for 5 rounds. It's impressive. Fight before that, fighting Robert Whittaker, breaking his teeth. Round 1 finish, and then before that it was Kamaru Usman on short notice, but a Kamaru Usman win all the same. Impressive. That's all I gotta say. But I think Sean Strickland, coming off this win against Fluffy, where he finishes him in the 3rd round, has a lot more of the backing of the fan base again. Has looked really good himself, and like I said, in his last win, and he has good wins himself. And I think Sean Strickland's skill set can really give Khamzat Chimaev a lot of problems. And I'm not here to make a prediction today. You guys can probably guess what my prediction is, knowing me a little bit at this point. But I really do think Sean Strickland can pose a lot of problems to Khamzat Chimaev. I was talking to people on Twitter last night about it. Khamzat Chimaev is a really I would even put him up there as an elite wrestler. Defensive wrestling, he is very, very good. He obviously doesn't use his wrestling ever. That's not what he wants to do. That's not what he finds the most success in, though I think he could use it more. He's taken down a lot of guys. He took down Nasruddin Imavov in their fight. We'll talk about Nasruddin Imavov in a moment here. But, I really do think Sean Strickland can pose a lot of problems. I think, yes, the first round or 2, this is always the thing with Khamzat Chimaev, and obviously his cardio looked a little bit better in his last fight, but I think it looked better due to the fact that Dricus du Plessis really gave no resistance. Khamzat Chimaev got him down on his back and flattened him out. And then from there, Dricus du Plessis had no success of getting up. And that's really what causes people to gas a lot, is either having to get up or preventing someone from getting up. Sean Strickland does not get held down on his back. You can't find an occurrence in Sean Strickland's career where he gets held down in the center of the octagon flat on his back. There's no time where that's ever happened. Sean Strickland is one of the best fighters in the UFC at getting up, and also preventing the takedowns a lot of time. Yes, his stance can pose a lot of problems with his ability to prevent takedowns. But I do think at the same time, so Dricus du Plessis had the really high guard. That's just his fight style. Sean Strickland fights more of a Philly shell, keeping his hands lower. He can slip the underhook in there and help prevent the takedowns a lot easier. I think, like I said, this could be a tough fight, Khamzat Chimaev. I think if it gets out of the first 2 rounds, I don't think it's going to be a fight where Khamzat can coast all 5 rounds. I think if it gets, like I said, out of the first round or 2, Sean Strickland's really going to start pouring it on him. And I do actually see him giving problems to Khamzat Chimaev in his gas tank. We know Sean Strickland works the body really well with his teeps and jabs and really kind of just touches you up the whole time. He's not looking to land bombs in the first round or 2 like Dricus du Plessis is, but he's looking to just wear on you. And that 3rd, 4th, 5th round, really looking to come and start putting work in. This is a giant fight in Newark, New Jersey. I'm going to be there, actually, so I'm stoked on this. UFC 328, it's May 9th. I'm going to be there. So I'm stoked on this. Like I said, giant fight. Talk about Nasruddin Imavov. Yes, he didn't get this fight. And I understand, he has quite a few fans, and they're, I'd say, somewhat rightfully upset. I think they are rightfully upset. But you have to understand at the same time, while being upset, that this was always going to happen. This is the bigger fight compared to Nasruddin Imavov versus Khamzat Chimaev. Considering they're both deserving, because Sean Strickland, you have to admit, if you're being honest here as a Imavov fan, Strickland is also deserving. So then they're going to go to the fight that has the beef, the fight that's going to sell more, people are going to tune in more. And that's this fight. There's going to be more casual fans tuning this fight. So you have to be honest. And I think if I was Imavov, I would sit out and wait. It makes sense to. He's, like I said, deserving of a title shot. So that would be the move for Imavov. But you can only be so mad if you're being honest with yourself and understanding about this fight. Like I said, massive fight. Sean Strickland can pose a lot of problems for Khamzat Chimaev. And I think we're going to see an upset here, personally. But moving on in a second here. Another big fight announced yesterday. Aljamain Sterling versus Youssef Zalal for Apex main event. Listen, this is a good fight. I'm excited for this one. This is actually a tough matchup for both of them. Obviously, we know Aljo poses a lot of problems with his wrestling, his back takes. Youssef Zalal has looked really good recently. He does have good grappling in himself. This was originally supposed to be Wokan Buckley versus Sean Brady in the Apex, but that got moved to UFC 328 like we saw. So this is a new main event. It's a good fight. Aljamain Sterling, it's frustrating. The UFC seems to hate him. I like Aljo a lot. He's from my home state in New York. It's a good fight. I mean, that's what I want to say. It's a really going to be really big challenge for him. Aljo has so much experience and is pretty well rounded, but especially in the grappling. And we saw Youssef Zalal has good grappling himself in his last fight. But this is a good Apex main event. I'm not happy that we're ever in the Apex anymore, but if we're going to be there, I like a good main event like this. Another great fight that's just this one infuriates me that it's in the Apex is Arnold Allen versus Melquizael Costa. This is a tough fight for Melk. I mean, Melk has looked phenomenal recently, and I'm a really big fan of him. I've been high on him for a long time. But listen, I'll tell you right now, you're not going to knock out Arnold Allen like you did Dan Ige. You're not going to knock out Arnold Allen like you did Morgan Charrier. Arnold Allen was a tough cookie. He had a lot of time off, and he's fought Jean Silva, and he lost. I think it was 29-28, but he still put up a tough fight. And he has a close fight in every fight. You're not putting him out like this. This is a tough step up for Melk. But a phenomenal fight all the same, and it's absolutely infuriating that this is in the Apex. This is the type of fight you want on that UFC 328 card. I hope somehow it gets moved, but I think it's unlikely. But maybe we have a fight fall out of that 328 card, and this can get moved there, but we'll see. Like I said, phenomenal fight. This is a tough step up. All around, super well-rounded, super tough, just a super good fighter. So this should be a great fight. Like I said, I'm really high on Melk, and I think he'll do well in this fight, but it's going to be intriguing to see. Got to look back at some stuff. But another fight that got announced, we have Song Yadong versus Davison Figueiredo on May 30th. This is in China, I'm pretty sure, or Macau or whatever. Good fight as well. Song Yadong coming off that loss to Sean O'Malley. Figueiredo coming off, I think his last fight was it with Umar or was it with Montel Jackson? I think it was Umar, right? I can't remember at this moment. But, he's been up and down as of recent. He's getting older. I think this is going to be a tough fight for him. Song Yadong has looked good, very good recently. He's just been losing to, guys in the top 3, like Petr Yan, like Sean O'Malley. I'm gonna ride with Song Yadong at this point in this fight in kind of his home area. It should be interesting. We know Figgy can mix it up and give problems to a lot of people, but Song Yadong he's still I don't even think he's 30 still, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's really young still. But yeah, good fight, good announcement. This is gonna see May 30th. Pretty stoked on this. I love this division. It's great. Kind of weird announcement. Gabriel Bonfim versus Bilal Muhammad got sent to the Apex. Guys, I don't even know. Truthfully, this as an Apex main event, I'm not that mad about it. Once again, like I said, I hate having fights in the Apex, but if you're gonna put this as an Apex main event, I'm not. Don't get me wrong, I'm not excited to watch this fight whatsoever. Gabriel Bonfim with absolute robbery over Wonder Boy. Bilal Muhammad, just, brother, what are we doing here? But he's back home in the Apex. Good fight actually. To be honest with you, I can see Bilal Muhammad making this actually look relative. I think he can win this fight pretty confidently. I think he's better than Bonfim, but we'll see. But another fight announced, June 6th, UFC Vegas 118, so in the Apex. Good fight, though. And then a phenomenal fight announced from one of the up-and-comers. Quillan Salkilld stepping in, I guess, against Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush was originally supposed to fight Manel Torres, which, I'm going to be honest with you, I think he was going to probably get his head knocked off, unfortunately. And I really like Benny. Now fighting against another guy who can really take your head off. But at the same time, though, I will say this is a tough fight for Quillan Salkilld. Yes, we've seen him winning fights, finishing fights, knocking out Nazar at hack press. But his last fight, he mixed it up a little bit. Beneil Dariush can give you problems. We know technically Beneil Dariush is a phenomenal fighter. We've just seen him physically having problems as of lately, not being able to really take a punch and just kind of aging quite a bit. But I think if he can mix this fight up and kind of use his experience against Quillan Salkilld, I think we could absolutely see him giving Quillan problems. So I'm actually really excited for this fight. I prefer this fight much more than I do the Manuel Torres fight for a couple of reasons. I think this is a winnable fight for Beneil Dariush. I think he could have beaten Torres too, but I just see Torres just take it, just swinging and cracking his head off. But then also at the same time, I really like Quillan. So if he can get this win here, this is a phenomenal win to have on his resume and really move him up in the rankings. But yeah, this is in Perth, and this is a co-main event for JDM versus Carlos Prates. So 2 big fights for the Aussies. I'm stoked on this. No pick yet, but this should be a great fight. Honestly, the whole point of this video was just to talk about this fight. Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. This gives me hope for the UFC. You know that this fight should be great, but this press conference, they're genuinely going to be Paramount is going to be ready to cut off Sean Strickland's mic at any moment. Listen, this gives me hope for the UFC. This is a phenomenal fight in between Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Ulberg in the White House card. Gonna get a little championship action from an American before the White House card. It'd be phenomenal if Sean could win this. like I said, I'm absolutely stoked on this. This is a great fight. This really, like I said, it just kind of, this is exciting. This is exciting. We haven't had, I feel like, an exciting fight lead up like this in quite a while. I can't remember a fight that's that recent where it's like been like this exciting and the fight hasn't even started yet, hasn't even been close, and you're exciting for the lead up. Like I said earlier, this is a Khabib versus Conor 2, a little different, but the guy, like Sean and Hamzat, are both mentally way more nuts. So yeah, I'm gonna be there in Newark, New Jersey. This is gonna be great. I can't wait. Let me know what you guys think about some of these announcements. We got some phenomenal announcements, this being the biggest. Let me know who do you have in this fight. And I appreciate you guys watching. Please subscribe. We got more stuff coming out soon. Have a good one, guys.